Looking for an adventure? Come to Peru. The Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, along with nomad and world traveler Julie B. Rose. We are co-hosting a trip to Peru in March of 2026. In this episode, you will discover what the adventure entails and the questions that were answered on a live webinar. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, where we dive deep into pressing health and fitness issues facing aging women. I'm Allie Kerr.
And I'm Shauna Kaminsky. And together we'll bring candid conversations, expert advice, and personal stories that will inspire and empower you on your own wellness journey.
Hello, everybody. It looks like we have folks joining our webinar on Peru. So I think we'll just jump right in and introduce ourselves. I am Julie Rose. I know some of you are well acquainted with me. I am a nomad and travel advisor and sort of independent blogger, basically, just sharing my travel experiences around the world. And about 2 years ago, I started hosting group trips. I basically have just wanted to share sort of the transformative power of travel with people everywhere, and wanted to give them a little bit of a taste and the experiences that have really changed me and influenced me in my life. So I've been identifying sort of great itineraries, great operators, great destinations, and creating and curating really wonderful travel experiences and trips that I can bring to followers and others out there. And very recently, I teamed up with the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, who you will hear from in a second. And this amazing trip and vision was born. So I'm super excited to take you all on this journey, first this virtual journey, but then the actual journey when we get to Peru in March. And I'm absolutely excited to meet everyone. So go ahead and introduce yourself, ladies. Shauna and Allie.
All right, I am Shauna, and I'm the co-host of the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast with Allie. We often get asked how Allie and I know each other, and we met in a business group about 15 years ago. I'm in Canada, she's in Georgia, and we really enjoy doing our passion project of podcasting. In my previous life, I was a teacher for 20 years, and then I owned a fitness boot camp for 17 years, and I've been online coaching since 2010. So I have a little bit of experience under my belt. I've also done several girls trips, but never internationally. So when we met Julie, I was very hyped up about partnering to do a trip, and we settled on Peru, which has been on my bucket list. I'm very passionate about helping women step out of their comfort zone. And so I think this is a great opportunity. I am super excited to share this with you and to be your healthiest self when you get there. Allie, how about you?
Hey, y'all. I'm in the state of Georgia, and I own a women's fitness training center. I've been in the fitness industry forever, and I am the co-host of Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast with Shauna, and looking forward to getting out of the comfort zone. I've not done a lot of travel internationally. I have done a little bit, and I actually met Julie found her from another podcast she was on, and she just was someone who I was like, oh my gosh, she has the coolest life. I've got to talk to her. We've got to get her on the show. And so then we met up with her, and this trip came to fruition, and I am super excited. And I know we'll talk about this more, but it's been really great how well this trip has launched. And a lot of times when Julie does these webinars, the trips are the goal of the webinar is to get enough people in the trip to make the trip a go. And we already have enough people already registered for this trip. So it is a go. So that's exciting. And yes, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Julie.
Awesome, thank you. And I'll just go back into the agenda for just a second. We introduced ourselves. We're going to share just a little bit about our vision for bringing all of you together on this trip. A deep dive into the itinerary. I know there's probably some questions about the itinerary and some of the excursions and what's all on the schedule. And then why you should join us. Why go on this trip when there's so many other places you could go and people you could spend your time with? Why come with us and what you're going to get out of it? So, oh, and also these are all photos from my own travels to Peru. I have been before. I first went 2 years ago, actually. So a lot of these experiences I have done, and I'm actually looking forward to other aspects of the trip as well that I didn't get to do last time. So I'm super pumped. I think just briefly, we maybe touched on this for a second, but when Shauna and Allie interviewed me on the podcast, we really wanted to talk about sort of, a little bit of what bucking the trends and what I decided to launch in my own life of just, I want to embrace, the joy of living, the carpe diem, because there's so much in the world to see. There's so many things to do. I know we get stuck in our ruts and our routines, and, life is so many obligations and everything else. So we really wanted to give you guys a time just for you, for your bucket list, for your well-being, for your the moment for your mind to rest from all the other buzz and noise and everything else happening in your life. And we really want this trip to be that for you. And also just a little bit of an accomplishment as well, because I know people are in all sorts of different places in their journey. And there's a lot of really great experiences in this itinerary that I think you can be really proud of at the end of the trip. So I don't know if Shauna and Allie, if you wanted to add anything to that.
Nope. Let's get into it.
Okay. Yeah. So Peru 2026, the dates are March 7th through 15th. This is a really good time of year for Peru. It is not quite it's just on the cusp of starting in the wet season. So you'll be transitioning from the dry to the wet. It is not the most, it's not a super high season, but it will be lively. So all of this has sort of influenced our decision we want to do the trip in March. We're starting in the Andes and we're traveling to the Amazon. So as you see on this map here, we start in Cusco, which is a high elevation city in Peru. That we start in Cusco so we can acclimate to the altitude. We'll spend a couple days there. We'll go to the Sacred Valley. We'll go to Machu Picchu and really enjoy all that we can experience in the Sacred Valley of Peru. And then we will travel to the Amazon jungle, where we'll have a really exciting couple days seeing all the nature and the animals, and going to a lodge and kind of living off the grid for a little while. And then we'll travel to Lima, the historic and lively capital, and have a final night in Lima and an opportunity to do a cooking class, which, if you know anything about Peru, they have amazing cuisine, ceviche, and the pisco sour, and all sorts of delicious things that we'll definitely want to experience in Lima. The cost for this trip is $2,749 USD, and that's based on double occupancy. The default for my women's trips is we want to pair you up with someone, because socialization and friendship is a core value. But if you did want to upgrade to a single room, there is a limited quantity available, first come, first serve. So that would be an option. And women only, because we really want to bond with an amazing group of women. That price includes pre-trip health and travel coaching, which you will learn more about. It also includes 12 meals, upgraded hotels, so around 4-star, and internal air. So you'll see there are a couple flights. Those are part of the trip cost. You will be responsible for flying into Cusco from wherever you are and out of Lima from wherever you are, but everything internal, including the trains and the transport van, as well as those flights, those are included. And then all entrance fees to included activities. So that is pointed out in the itinerary, what is included and what is additional. And that's really to give everyone a little bit of flexibility on, I feel like doing this, or I feel like doing that, or I just want to have a spa day, or whatever you want to do in those moments that there are free time, you have the opportunity to do something solo with a small group, or join some of the other activities, or basically make the trip all your own. I can also bring up the handy dandy website that walks through the itinerary. This is where you'll find sort of all the live information. There'll be some updates here and there, but if you're already sort of ready to go, women only, juliedevivre.com, women-only-Peru, there is a link here where you can just go ahead and sign up if you're already almost convinced, but we'll get to that later. I'll just go right down to where the itinerary starts. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this because you guys can visit it on your own, but we start in Cusco, we explore Cusco and have an opportunity to take a cooking class if you arrive on time or earlier in the day. We'll have a trip to the Sacred Valley, which I mentioned is where a lot of the indigenous people live in Peru. And that's also sort of on the foothills of Machu Picchu. So we will visit some cultural and community centers where we'll learn from local artisan women how they weave, how some of their cultures, how they build crafts and other like pottery and things like that. So we really want to give you guys a taste of the Peruvian culture, which is a really vibrant culture that lasts to this day. And we'll learn a little bit also about the food, the food in Peru. So Peru is known for quinoa. You probably don't know that. It's a super healthy grain, but Peru has the most varieties of quinoa in the world, and that's where it's all come from. They also make a lot of potatoes, and they're also known for some weird things like guinea pig. You don't have to eat that, but it's all interesting stuff to learn about a culture. But we'll spend a lot of time with these women, and they make the most incredible hand-woven like scarves and headbands and blankets and throws. So I definitely encourage everyone to leave a little room in your suitcase for that, especially since we definitely like to support not necessarily at any place that's going to market up their products, but the women's co-op goes straight back to the women who actually do the work. So it's a good place to support and perfect for presents and so on. On day 3, we'll go from the Sacred Valley to Aguas Calientes, which is basically one of the launch points for Machu Picchu. We'll take the scenic train ride, which is absolutely stunning. It's a really nice train also, so it's not uncomfortable. And then once we get to Aguas Calientes, there is some free time. And the optional activities for this day are, you could do the hot springs, you could go to the market in town, or if you feel like doing something active, if you feel like getting your blood pumping, there is an opportunity to do the Inca Trail. So I want to point this out. This is one of those optional activities that has an additional cost. And you also will need to book that in advance because there is only a certain number of permits available for the Inca Trail. It is obviously a very, very popular tourist activity and something that's definitely a bucket list experience in Peru. Talk a little bit more about that later. we'll spend the night in Aguas Calientes, and then the next day we will travel to Machu Picchu in the bus. So we'll take the short shuttle ride bus up to Machu Picchu, where we'll come in with a guide. We'll have like an hour and a half or so to spend doing a track, just sort of like this one, where we'll have amazing views of the citadel and learn all about the Incan culture and the Incan people and how really this whole thing was discovered back in the 1400s. After the visit to Machu Picchu, then we will return and go back to Cusco. So a little bit of a transport in the afternoon, but then when we get to Cusco, we will have a free day. And in Cusco, we will have multitude of options to choose from for what we would like to do. Some of those activities include a full day Rainbow Mountain trek. And I will talk about that actually in a moment too. So we'll go into that soon, but there are some other opportunities, other excursions. If that is not on your list, you can do a guided tour of Cusco. It's a, colonial city with tons of beautiful cathedrals and different palaces and things from all sorts of the past few hundred years. There's a museum visit. You can also go horseback riding through the countryside and a mountain biking trip. So if you don't feel like hiking at this elevation, then there's also some other opportunities. The following day is when we go to the Amazon, and that is going to be a completely different side of Peru from, again, the Andes to the Amazon. So we'll take a flight to the Amazon and then go to our lodge, basically, where which will require a little bit of finagling with a little boat ride. So that will be very much off the grid and getting the dose of nature. And we'll learn about all the animals that call the Amazon home on this side of Peru. We will be in a sustainable lodge, so it's solar powered and a little bit rustic, but we have mosquito nets, candles, and flush toilets. So I think it's a good opportunity for us all to sort of see how some of the other side lives. And then we'll also have a guided night walk to search for some of the nocturnal animals that call the jungle home. Then we have another day in the Amazon, some more experiences looking for spotting the different birds and the different monkeys and even snakes. So, I'll keep a distance, of course, but there's really such amazing diversity and ecology in where we're going in the Amazon. And we'll learn also too about the people and all the plants and how they used to live. And there'll be a little bit of free time as well. So on day 8, then we will fly from the Amazon back to Lima. Well, actually, we haven't been to Lima yet, so we'll fly to Lima for the first time. And we have a free evening, which we'll probably all get together and have a farewell dinner with a pisco sour, hopefully, and some more Peruvian food, and really sort of recap our amazing trip. And the next day, you can depart Lima at any time. There's also an opportunity to do a cooking class. There was also an opportunity to do a cooking class in Cusco on the first day. So it really sort of depends on if you have any time in your flight schedule, or at either end, you can always extend and we can help you get that set up. All right, I'll pop back over here. And again, if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat and we will get to them. So a couple of those pictures, I already went into the itinerary and the optional excursion. So this is where we'll talk a little bit more about that. Some real pictures from the first one is where the one-day Inca Trail hike will get you. You'll see that view of the valley and maybe a llama. And then the Rainbow Mountain in the center, which is kaleidoscope of colors. It's a very notable, recognizable landmark in Peru, and then a cooking class. So we have some tiger milk ceviche here, which is delicious. So we can talk about the add-on activities really quick. You don't have to decide this now unless you're very, very sure you want the single supplement, because there is a limited quantity available. The only thing I will add is that the single supplement does not apply to the time in the jungle. You will double up there just because we are at a rustic lodge, but every other night you will be on your own. The airport transfers each way. It sort of depends on how many folks are on the same flight, but they're between 10 and 40 each way. The one-day Inca Trail is $299, and the one-day Rainbow Mountain is $50. And the cooking classes, the one in Cusco is $46, and the one in Lima is $79. And we will just go to the next page so I can share a little bit about these two hikes. And I think this is one of the big questions for a lot of folks. So there are a couple hikes. There are actually multiple different ways to go do the Inca Trail, which you'll kind of see if you can zoom in. There's, and actually some of it's not on the page because that's a different track. But there's a couple ways to do the Inca Trail. And the regular Inca Trail is a 4-day one where you hike. You're using outhouses. It's a really cool experience if you are into that. But we have decided to give you the condensed experience, which is just a 1-day hike, and then we can go back and be comfortable in our hotel. But you still get the magical experience of entering through the sun gate of Machu Picchu. They time it so it happens like around dawn. And, the mist is like forming over the rocks. And then you look down and you just imagine like this is what the Incas saw when they entered their citadel 500, 600 years ago. It is 10 to 12 kilometers, 6 to 7 miles. It takes 6 to 8 hours. And the difficulty is moderate to challenging. There are some stairs. It's medium high elevation. There's higher elevation on the Inca Trail, but we skip that because we start on just the 1 day, which is this little yellowish orange squiggle. So we'll miss the super high elevation and we'll miss all the camping, and we'll just do the 6 to 7 miles into the sun gate of Machu Picchu. There are some stairs, and there are actually a couple stops along the way where we'll learn about different buildings that used to be part of the Inca Empire. So it's not rushed. It is not super fast paced. We take moments to rest. We'll have, our guides will go slow. We'll always wait for the last person. There'll be a guide at the front. There'll be a guide at the back. So it's definitely it's something that everyone's in it together. Basically 1 foot in front of the other. The main thing to be aware of is altitude. If you've ever experienced altitude, but also the idea is that you've been in Cusco for a couple of days, you have acclimated a bit, and you stay hydrated, and you are well fed. And there's also altitude medication if this is a concern. I think it's pretty doable, 1 foot in front of the other, mind over matter. And it's really an amazing experience. So encourage all of you to think about it. And then, of course, talk to Allie and Shauna about whether that's a part of, your bucket list. The Rainbow Mountain hike, that is another experience that is shorter, but it will be harder. And that is because of the altitude. That is because of the air, the oxygen is so thin, and you are just moving slower. So if you are susceptible to altitude sickness, I would just advise everyone to maybe think about this one. But such amazing views, such an amazing thing to say that you've done. Very, very beautiful with the multicolored scenery and a very very recognizable landmark in Peru. So that is one to think about. I put the elevation in here. And also too, this is why we're talking about conditioning later in the call. We're talking about strength building later in the call. We want to help you guys accomplish one of these hikes or both if you're so inclined. And also, you don't have to do it either if you're more interested in some of the other activities or would like a spa day, which we can recommend for you as well. The other thing about the Rainbow Mountain hike is that it is a few hours drive from Cusco each way. So you will be waking up early. And should we do questions now, or should we talk about the added value?
Maybe we could, there's a lot of questions, so maybe we'll just go through the added value and then pop back to the questions, if that's all right, because the next couple of slides won't take us too long. But what Allie and I are very excited about, because we are the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, we are all about healthy living and arriving prepared in your best and healthiest body. So we are excited to have a one-on-one personalized wellness call with anyone that has signed up. The sooner you sign up, the more opportunity we will have to provide feedback to become that healthiest version of yourself come March. And this individualized call will be able to give you some personal directives on what the big rocks are in terms of, you know, what you could potentially focus on. It's a choose your own adventure in terms of like, what do you want to implement? There is nothing that is mandatory, so to speak. And if you're, this is an optional opportunity. It is not an expectation. That we're not holding your feet to the fire for fitness or nutrition or anything like that. But if you are at all interested in optimizing your health, Allie and I are here for you, and it's going to start with this call. Allie, what would you like to add to that?
Just that, Shauna, I want to reiterate what you just said. It's some of you may want to just go on this trip and you have no interest in the fitness part of this or working on that. And so this is another one of those things that is a bonus. It's optional. And some of you may want to, this may be an opportunity to say, hey, this trip is a way for me to really focus on myself and I want to step things up a little bit. And these ladies are here to help me do it. So take advantage of it if it's something that interests you.
Do you want to advance, Julie?
Yes. Did it go?
Yep.
Okay. Or is that the same?
There we go. There we go.
Okay.
And so each month, in addition to us doing a one-time, that initial call, just getting to know you, kind of what your goals are, where you're at, what your goals and dreams and wishes are with going to Peru or just in between now in Peru, we are going to be doing monthly health coaching calls, and that'll be something like a Zoom call where we're meeting with ladies that are going on the trip. So one of the benefits of this will be that you'll get to meet other ladies that are going, so you'll get to know each other before the trip. And then Shauna and I'll be there to provide help with any kind of fitness questions you have or getting ready physically for the trip, encouraging accountability, just helping you with nutrition. All those things will just be providing that support in a monthly format. So the sooner that you register for the trip, if this is something that interests you, you'll have more of these coaching calls. Because we'll be doing one each month.
Yeah, and I also want to reiterate that again, it is optional, and Allie and I have chosen to, like, once we have our one-on-one calls with you, we will get a better idea of where we want to focus, so that we can personalize it to those people that are, you know, to what your needs are. So we're excited to be able to personalize the content based on who's traveling with us. So let's go to bonus 3. And this is if you would like to work on your fitness at home Allie and I are well versed in this area, and we both have large libraries of follow along workouts that you will get access to. So, and in addition to this, we do want to focus on how you would condition for the big hikes. So, we will be offering some opportunities to build your strength and endurance for those hikes. Honestly, the best way to acclimate to altitude is to be at those altitudes. So we really can't, if you're at sea level, you can't we can't, get you to altitude, but we can get you your strongest self at sea level, so that then when you do get to altitude, you will be stronger. And then we'll focus on ways so that you can handle those hikes, if that's something that you're interested in doing. Allie, anything else?
No.
All right, let's go to the next slide. And this is, fueling yourself pre-trip so that you can be your healthiest self on the trip. So we are not recommending or suggesting that anybody needs to go on a diet, that sort of thing. But what we do want to do is help you focus on the best sources of energy, how to fuel yourself so that you can be your healthiest version of you. And again, we will kind of focus our monthly calls based on what we learn about you in our one-on-one consultations with you. So we want to be able to personalize it to you and your needs. And so you'll be getting a little bit of like nutrition coaching prior to the trip. And anything else, Allie, for that?
I think you covered that one. Yeah, you're good.
And let's go to the fifth one.
All right, so I wanted to ask if I could talk about the can I, should I, would I, am I going to do this trip? And my clients already know this about me. Those of you that are not my clients, I have Crohn's disease. And so anytime that I travel, that is always something that I have to think about. And I'm sure there's other people that have things, whether it's a knee that bothers you or something going on, and so it's not just like I don't have to think, oh yeah, let me just hop on the plane and let me go. Like I have special nutrition needs, and I have special health needs and medical needs and all those things. And so it's a big deal for people and I just want to say, I know those of you that may have something going on, that this can be a big deal, trying to make a decision about, can I do this? Should I do this? That there's more to it than just hopping on a plane for some of us. And also I'm getting close to 50. And so for me, that's another, with my health, and, I never know how many good, healthy times I'm going to have in life, or good health. And then I also don't know how many good, healthy years I'm going to have in life. And so I always think about that window is closing. The older I get, the further along I get. And so for me, this is just, I do like adventures. That's one of the ways that I help cope with living with a chronic disease is finding adventures, whether it be little adventures, or for me, this is a big, huge adventure. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that we're all in different places. Some of you may have been on big adventures like this. Some people, I know some of my clients have hardly ever been out of the state of Georgia where I live, and have never hardly been on a plane. And some people do it all the time. And so just be aware that we're all in different boats. And I just want to encourage all of us to, wherever we are, whatever boat we're in, that we are just living our life to the fullest and taking advantage of getting out of our box. And I think this is one way for us to all maybe get outside of our box, or just add to our adventure list. If you're already an adventurer, what fun to add another adventure to your bucket of things that you've done. And are you fit to travel? That there is and Julie can answer a little bit more maybe to this, but there is a certain fitness level that we need to be able to travel. However, we don't have to be marathon runners or mountain climbers or those kind of things to do this trip. And so I just want to encourage y'all that, there are options here. Some of these things may sound a little scary, and we do have time. Some of these things you don't have to necessarily decide on it, but you will have to I think on the Inca Trail, you have to make a decision because of the permit earlier. But no, and that's why we're offering this fitness option. But also know that if you're, I don't ever know, living with a chronic disease, I don't know how my health is going to be. So I may be doing the spa day that Julie mentioned. That sounds amazing. And that may be just fun. I'll be in Peru still, and I'll be experiencing a new culture. So even if you can't do all the things, I still think that there's going to be so many things that are things that we don't normally get to experience that will make this an amazing trip. And we get to be with other gals, and I work with us. My passion is working with ladies and helping ladies become stronger, more confident, and get to experience more life in the time that we do have here on this earth. And we do tend to outlive our male counterparts. So, I think when we did the podcast with Julie, one of the things we talked about is not waiting until we're retired or for the perfect time to get out and live life. And that's definitely something that I see when I think about this trip, is that I'm not waiting until I retire or I have time or that I can make this happen or I'm healthy enough or whatever, just like going for it. And so I just encourage us to, if that's something that speaks to you, go for it. One of the things that's been interesting to me in talking to clients has been, and some of you may not have this, but husbands' reactions to their wives going on this trip has been kind of funny. I think that they're not used to, I have some clients, their husbands, they'll go on these hunting trips or these things, they don't think twice about it, and then they're like shocked that we are like, hey, we want to go to Peru, like this is something I want to do. And so that's been fun to kind of see and hear about the significant others' responses to us going on a girls trip and doing something as amazing, the amazing women that we are. So I'm so excited to be on this trip with the amazing gals that are going. And y'all can bring a friend. You don't, like, we want to fill this trip up. I know we're already on our way. So that's the other thing I would say is, if you do, this is something that you want to do, to jump in, throw your name in the hat and get in the trip, because Julie can speak more to that. But we do believe already thankfully we have had a good response and good registrations so far.
And if I could just add something, is that I haven't, as mentioned previously, I haven't done international travel for a girls' trip, but I have done more local. I happen to live in a beautiful area, so we go to Banff, or we go into the Rocky Mountains here, and so there's just something special about traveling with women that if you've never done it, there is just a magic that happens in that circle. So again, as Ali said, often some husbands may be a little bit reluctant to, encourage you on that adventure. So I would encourage you to, look at the potential value of a girls' trip. And even if you don't know anybody on the trip, you will know them prior to arriving. And it's so fun. I see some of the ladies on the call that I've had opportunity to coach, and I just want to give them a hug, because you develop a relationship in these meetings, and then to meet them, you already know them by the time your boots on the ground there. All right, Julie, back to you.
Okay, sorry, I think I must have fell off for a second too, so I hope I didn't miss anything. I guess that's that Italy internet. We had a little outage here, but anyway, how do you book? So it's really easy. We have an online form. All you have to do is put your information in there. You want to be accurate because we are going to be buying flights for you. And it just is a $400 US non-refundable deposit. That means you're going. As soon as you book the trip, you should also get travel insurance, which I'm sending everybody a link. We want to just make sure you insure the value of your deposit, and then we will increase that when it gets closer to the trip, so that all your travel costs, that is really just to sort of protect you and give you peace of mind, because safety is our number one. And then the balance is not due until 90 days before the trip. So all you need right now is 400, and then 90 days before is when the balance is due. And all these extras that is when you'll pay for them. So you won't have to pay for them now. If you decide to get some of the extras, then that just goes on your balance, so that when you when December rolls around, you'll get we'll send you the link for this is the bit, and then it's all happening. And like Ali said at the beginning, this trip is not going to be canceled. We have more than enough. We've met the minimum. So we're going to Peru, and we're here to invite you. Let's see, we might actually be at the end here at questions. So I just wanted to add, we did have a few people like pop in at different stages through the webinar. So this is being recorded and it will be shared out to everybody who registered. It'll be uploaded on YouTube. So that link will be headed your way after we wrap everything up. But I also see some questions in the chat. So if you have some that haven't come up, go ahead and put them in now, and we'll just sort of go down the list. I see a question from Dee Dee, who you'll actually see a photo of her from she came to Kenya with me right here. Hi, Dee Dee. She asked, she has a friend who is interested but gets motion sickness. What is the driving? What are the roads like? There's a little bit of twisties and turnies when we go up the shuttle to Machu Picchu. There is the train is actually kind of a little bit twisty because it's scenic. So trying to think. I don't think there's anything super bumpy like we experienced in Kenya, but since we will have like a van just for us, except for the transport vehicle at Machu Picchu, the van that we have just for us, we can also accommodate, putting people who might get motion sickness at the front. And then we'll try to work that out with the bus driver to and from the little shuttle bus to and from Machu Picchu. But I don't recall remembering too many bad roads. So hopefully that will not be a deterrent, but she might also want to check with her doctor and maybe get prescribed something. And let's see, where do we fly into? Asked Lizette. That I can go back actually to the photo. So the trip starts in Cusco, which I believe is CUS, but keep me honest and maybe do a internet search. We'll fly into Cusco, and the itinerary starts, typically we'll meet as a group around 5-6 p.m. unless you wanted to add on to do the cooking class, which happens earlier in the day, I think around noon. All this information will come out to your email once we sort of get rolling on the trip a little bit. So that information will be shared with you, but it starts in Cusco and it ends in Lima. So those would be the 2 flights that you're responsible for from whatever your home airport is. I will also just add, so Ali and Shauna talked about all the health coaching that you get as a part of the trip. I didn't mention, well, I sort of mentioned here it very quickly and briefly, but you also get travel coaching, which means that everyone who is booked, everyone who is confirmed, we will meet a few times. We'll talk about flights, we'll talk about optimal routes, we'll talk about currency, we'll talk about packing, we'll talk about weather, we'll talk about food and all sorts of things as it relates to the trip. People will, ask for, how do I get an adapter? How do I get, all sorts of questions that come to mind. I am a full-time traveler. I have been to Peru and I've pretty much encountered every question that you could have under the sun. So I provide travel coaching, which will be a group Zooms, and that also gives everybody an opportunity to meet each other too, which is great for bonding and socialization. And just a little bit of an added perk. So you're not going on this trip blind. It's not like you show up on day 1 with sort of no idea what's happening. I will be with you every step of the way and make it easy for you by sort of handling your booking on the back end and making sure you have all the information that you need. So Damaris asked, until which day can we pay the deposit? That it's we're selling out. We're almost, I mean, we only have, I think, 7 spots left, maybe six,
Yeah.
6 or 7 spots left.
Seven.
So it's a first come, first serve situation. Don't think about it too long because I know this trip is going to sell out. We've already had so much excitement in just the week or two since we all sort of announced it on our pages and to our people. So I would anticipate if you find that you are really into this idea, you'll chew on it as quickly as possible. There is an opportunity, perhaps, that maybe we could get a couple more spots. Maybe there's a couple more seats on the bus, but in the van, but we'll see. We'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. So really, it's anytime as soon as possible. Amy asked the type of clothing. So I talk about this. I'm not going to speak by memory, but I talk about this on the itinerary page. Local dress and weather. So mid-March, there's a couple different climates we have happening between Cusco, the Amazon, and Lima. So your temperatures are here both in Fahrenheit and Celsius. Cusco has altitude, so you're up kind of in the mountains. It's going to be a little more chilly. You're going to want to be prepared for maybe some showers here and there. The Amazon is going to be a little more humid and hot. And then Lima is on the coast, so you're going to get some breeze. You're going to have a little bit of a different weather experience there. So definitely take a look at this. And then, as I mentioned, we will go more into packing and more into clothing in our travel coaching sessions when those come about. So for anyone who, like, as soon as you're confirmed on the trip, then we'll have more forthcoming information about the upcoming travel. Kim asked, will we be trying to arrange departure and return flights together? Possibly. If there's a lot of you coming from the same airport, that is definitely something that would make sense. My previous trips, everyone was sort of scattered all over the place, but I know you guys are geographically located. So there is a really good chance that you have a lot of people in the same city. I think that's great to kind of do the flights together, and probably something we'll talk about in the travel coaching calls later on. Is this a G Adventures trip? Yes, I use G Adventures a lot. And so they are the operator. That was Gloria asking. Dee Dee asked, can we get assistance with the hotels if you want to arrive early? Yes. So if you want to add on to your trip before or after, there is an opportunity to add on the hotel that we've already contracted with for the trip. I would recommend that. It makes it easy. Then you don't have to switch. Otherwise, maybe you want to have a fancy 5-star experience. I can help with that too as a travel advisor. So just would love to hear from you. Sometimes you have people who are like, hey, I'm already in Peru. I want to go to Colombia. I'm already in Peru. I want to go to Ecuador or the Galapagos. All of that is possible as well. So just would want to hear from you, and I'll put my email in the chat so that you can reach out to me. Gloria asked, what is the age of participants? So on my trips, they typically range from anywhere 30s to 60s. And I think we're tracking maybe at an average around 50 so far. But age is a number. We're all healthy agers here. Age is a number. It's all an attitude. So, I've had trips where sometimes you have a mother and daughter, you have multi-generations. It's really fun. It's a really great bonding experience, and everybody gets along. It's more about the attitude than how old you are. Lizette asked, can you fly directly into Cusco or into Lima and then Cusco? Yeah, Cusco is a smaller airport, so you might have a layover in Lima. That's probably something you might run into. That's just a little bit of that's just what you might run into because of the way the itineraries, how the itinerary is sorted. So you might run into that, but it is what it is. Jackie asked, I would like to be paired with a roommate. Yes. So the default is you will be paired with one of the other awesome ladies on this trip, unless you've opted for a single room, which has an extra cost. That doesn't apply to the Amazon though, because that lodge doesn't have the capacity to accommodate that. But we actually really like the idea of everybody being paired up with a roommate because it's really good bonding and socialization. Of course, if you know someone, you can request someone, or maybe as we do these travel coaching calls, people get to know each other or start chit-chatting, they have something in common, maybe they want to be roommates. All of that's possible, or we'll just pair you up randomly. Maybe even Shauna and Allie and I will get behind the scenes and like, who can we match make with each other? You know, we might go with our little notebooks and do some of that, do an exercise like that. But I've made some really great friends, met some really amazing people that just because they were my travel buddy. And I think that's a nice part of this trip. But again, there's a couple rooms for those who want to be alone, and just let us know as soon as possible. Kim asked, will we need hiking boots or just good tennis shoes? I would recommend either trail runners or hiking boots. That is just, you know, for more sturdiness, for more grip. You might want to protect your ankles. There's all sorts of advice out there. You might probably want to just go to REI and try a bunch of things on, see what feels comfortable. Obviously, you want to break them in. I have a blog actually where I talk about doing the Inca Trail, the full 4-day Inca Trail, and what shoes I used and what shoes I considered. So I can also share that with everybody if they're just curious about what it's like camping. But I think, you know, have some good broken in hiking shoes, and you'll be in good shape. And then, yep, Shannon asked to second Dee Dee, can we get assistance with the hotel? Yes, if you want to staying longer, or if there's not good flights, and either way, like, we're here to make that easy for you guys. Oh, Jackie says I met you and Penny in San Miguel de Allende. Oh, well, I hope you can come, Jackie. It'd be great to see you again. Kim asked, is the 1-day Inca Trail one of the optional? It is an optional excursion. And that is just because since everybody has a different ability level and maybe different interests, we don't want to make that part of the trip, because it does involve permits, and the permits are expensive. The permits are there's only a certain quantity that the government gives out. So we want to give everybody an opportunity, like, yes, I want to do this, or no, I don't want to do this. And then of course, if you don't want to do it, then you don't pay. If you do want to do it, then you do have to pay the permit cost. So that is on the itinerary for some of the extras. All the extras are outlined here. Has the date been decided for the consultation with the high altitude specialist? So no, I think Shauna and Allie are going to be giving advice, but I don't know that you've scheduled that yet.
No, not been scheduled, and we are working on some potential guests that could help us prepare.
Okay, perfect.
So that's to be announced.
Okay, great. Should you have a backpack or a suitcase? That's really a personal preference, but it is important to note that this isn't like some luxury trip that we're putting forth for you guys. We're not going to have a bunch of bag handlers kind of catering to us all the time. So you will probably need to hoist your own bag here and there. Sometimes maybe there'll be somebody who will grab it from you, but it should be a bag that you can handle. So whatever is more comfortable, we're not going to be like obviously walking all of these places with our bags and going upstairs and things like that. But you should have, you know, enough ability to handle your bag. So if that's a backpack, if that's a tote bag or weekender bag or whatever that is, whatever that looks like, there will be opportunities to do laundry if you want to do laundry. Whatever kind of bag suits you, and I can also give some suggestions on the brands that I like when it comes to the travel coaching calls. Food allergy accommodations. So there is an opportunity if you have food restrictions or preferences or allergies. We will provide you a form to fill all of that out. And in each place, we have professional guides who speak Spanish, who live in Peru, and they will provide guidance in all of these places. So they know all the restaurants we're going to. They are able to communicate what needs to, the conversations that need to happen around food. And so you'll be taken care of in that regard. I've traveled around 10 times with this operator, and we've had all sorts of different food restrictions and challenges, and they've been able to handle it every time. If we cannot do the Rainbow Mountain hike, will there be an opportunity to view it and take photos? I actually don't know. I actually don't know, so I will find out. How do we book the extras? You just let me know. Once you book the trip, then we will be in touch, and you'll be able to note your preferences and whatever you want to add. And we'll just note it in your file. And then when final payment comes along, you'll get the updated balance with the extras. Same thing goes for the private room. If you would like a private room, then go ahead and let me know of your preference. Book the main trip, and then let me know of your preference. And then we do have a limited quantity, so let me know as soon as possible, and then we'll make sure that's reserved for you. How soon should we book out flights? So now that the trip is confirmed, as soon as you basically secure your spot, you can book flights. And let's see, we're 7 months out, so their flight schedules should all be available. What I actually give some advice in my travel coaching sessions. Maybe set up a Google alert. Then you'll get some research, some data coming in. A Google Flights alert. Maybe watching for good prices, and you're getting notified of flight price drops and so on. And yeah, as soon as the trip is confirmed and you paid the deposit, you can book your flights. And then you should also get travel insurance within 2 to 3 weeks of that first deposit, because you are then eligible for additional protections because you're so close to you're within 2 to 3 weeks of your deposit on the trip. And that is also in the introductory email that is sent to everybody who books. So if you're one of those, you can expect that email coming to you. And just to remind everybody, it is this pink link here. And I'll drop this link in the chat, and also my email address in the chat for any additional questions. We're right at time. I don't know how that worked. Any final questions or final words?
Well, I'm very excited, Julie, and I hope that we've addressed your questions, concerns. I hope you're excited. We are very excited to have you along with us. Now's the time.
Yeah.
And I feel fortunate that we have Julie leading us, because we could, Sean and I could put together a trip somewhere, but it wouldn't be to Peru, or if it was, we would be lost. So it's so nice to have someone guiding us that knows what we're doing, where we're going, and all the info, and has all the experience.
Yeah, so I feel like it's a really great pairing. We are very excited to pair with you, Julie, and to meet some of our clients that, like, I know for me, I have not met face to face. So this is a great opportunity.
Wow. Well, adventure and bonding awaits. So I'm excited to meet you two in person and to just be with everybody who joins us. It's going to be great. Okay, well, you know how to contact us if there are additional questions. There will be an email coming your way in the next 24 hours with the recap of the webinar and the link. And again, We hope to see you in Peru.
Thanks for listening. You'll find me, Allie, on Instagram at Allie Kerr Fitness.
And you'll find me, Shauna, on Instagram at Shauna Kaminsky. Feel free to pop us a DM with questions and or feedback. If you're enjoying the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, please subscribe and share it with other health-minded women. Ratings and reviews are also much appreciated and help us get our message out to a larger audience.
Until next time, be healthy and be happy.